Ugh, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I need to get off whatever I'm on today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of Babble Talk. I am your host, Josh, and some of you might know me as Jan Moore from my interview series, Jan Moore Interviews. Today, I'm speaking with amazing actor and talent, Colten Wilke. I'm probably messed it up from the Thunderbird horror movie and is the lead actor in it. I'm really excited to talk to him. So can I please get a rounding round of applause for this amazing talent? Welcome, Colten, to Babble Talk. How are you doing today, sir?
Wow, thank you for having me. What an intro. It's Colten Wilke, but that was a really good attempt considering you didn't know, and that's I don't think anyone's gotten it right before. So kudos.
I'm sorry. I'm so bad with last names, like period. I'm even bad with my own last name. So
well, who's ever supposed to know silent E's or there's all these weird things that people have to take into consideration, and it's hard to know which is right. But you're good.
How'd you well, I guess we're gonna dive straight into it. How'd you get introduced to acting? Like what brought you to the entertainment world?
Well, it's definitely I think a little bit of an unorthodox approach. I definitely didn't to tell you that I had dreams as a little kid of being an actor or making films. I guess it's always that thing you think when you watch a movie, like, oh, that would be amazing. But I kind of grew up hiking and playing sports, and it's not the easiest thing to find your artsy side. And at least I grew up in rural Canada in a city called Kelowna. So, but I always really enjoyed writing screenplays and thinking about stories, though. And I think as I graduated and entered the workforce, I went and worked in Northern Alberta, and I started doing just kind of writing my ideas down, because it was such you're just working all day and you got nothing else to do. And it's like anyone with a job, it doesn't matter if it's outside and physical or just, if you're at a cash register and having to hustle all day, it's like you think about stories. And I think that's where it starts, probably with your passion with film and everything. It's like you're kind of just going through, and I was just thinking cool ideas and always watching stuff. And that really just manifested over the next 5 years. Eventually, it got to a point I was working on a ship in Alaska, and it was just a wonderful job. And I was diving with whales and octopus and things like that. And it was just the right time. I had relocated to a city called Victoria. And in Victoria, there's a lot of art schools going on. It's a university town. So eventually it was like, well, I'm working as a diver, I'm fishing, this is great. Or do I follow something that's been kind of eaten at me for the last 7 years of just something to try? It doesn't matter. Like I had the aspirations were like, oh, I hope I can make film and act and stuff like that. But like in reality, it was like, well, am I willing to wager leaving this career and taking a massive step and going to a 1-year acting diploma? Some would say you're crazy, but yeah, that's kind of how just to summarize your question there. Yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. So yeah, good choice, I think. I hope.
I hope so. I mean, it's always interesting when I talk to people just how they got their start in this industry or like where they come from. And speaking of where people come from, what was your childhood environment like?
Childhood environment, I grew up, well, my mom and dad are just awesome. Love them to bits and so encouraging. And I grew up in Kelowna, Southeast Kelowna, British Columbia. So I don't know if you're familiar with British Columbia. No? Okay, well, this is great because you're getting, where are you right now? Where are you from? Sorry.
I'm originally from New York, but I live in Georgia currently.
Georgia, okay. So are you familiar? The Pacific Northwest is kind of a wild place. Like you've got the Rocky Mountains that just like kind of cut it off from the prairies that stretch, right across the states, and like, the mountains. So you've got this big mountain range, the Rockies, and then you've got the ocean. And yeah, you got California and it's really dry, but as you get more north, you get these cold weather systems that make, we've got this massive temperate rainforest. People don't think about that, but that's where we are here in Vancouver. And as you come over the coastal mountain ranges And then the Rockies are on the right. You get this low-lying valley called the Okanagan Valley. And it's actually the hottest climate in Canada, just south of there, Osoyoos and Oliver. And there's tons of, it's like a vineyard, like Napa Valley. So there's lots of wineries and vegetation and lakes, and so great hiking. And I kind of grew up in this area where there's just kind of a mountain, and so a lot of hiking, really great schools, really awesome community with really kind people. Very, very, very fortunate in that sense.
I'm really glad to hear that, because goodness, sorry, something's in my throat. But that's a good childhood to have. Mine was very, different, because I grew up in New York. So there were no mountains, there was no hiking, there was no outdoors. All the most you saw of outdoors was, the tree, that one singular tree next to the apartment you live next to. So, it was a lot of cities. So, but
I can't even fathom that, like, it's hard for me to think about that. But so was there like were you in a certain blockade, and then your school is also, was there big fields for your school, or no? Stupid question.
Not even close. Yeah, no, it's not stupid, but it's,
you're talking to a hillbilly here.
No, I mean, I've become more familiar with that type of lifestyle now that I'm in Georgia, because a lot of people are like rural like that, and there's more fields and stuff like that. And my school had like this big, like the school that I graduated from a couple weeks ago, like had a big like place where you could just go. There was a baseball field, football field, all that. But back in New York, everything is very close. Like I could walk to a convenience store and I could be there in like 2 minutes just by walking. I could walk to my school. I could walk to McDonald's. Like the one thing I miss about New York is how like everything was so close. Like the train was there, the bus was there. Like you didn't need really a car, and like it's just everything is so close. So like if I wanted to hang out with my friends, if I lived there long enough, I would have been able to just like walk with them to Subway if they wanted to go, or just drive somewhere in Manhattan. Yeah.
Go to something like go to Coney Island or someplace that is far away, but you can just hop on. Like I picture it so my first like big, when I went to Europe, I was like, oh, sky trains and systems that go everywhere fast. But like, I'm in Vancouver now, and the SkyTrain, and like, riding the subway in New York, sometimes you hear how it's dangerous and stuff like that up here, but I imagine if you're with your friends, it's probably just a really exciting, fun thing to do. Like, I know this might sound crazy to you, but for me, if I was to go to New York, like one of the things I'd be looking most forward to is riding their subways. Like I wouldn't need to go to shows or anything. Like that's crazy. That literally, I would pick a few places, like, okay, and like, but planning out the subway routes that I would take and trying to like, that would be one of the most, I really would enjoy that. It would remind me kind of like, maybe having a few destinations and being on an adventure. Anyways, I hope to come to New York one day.
Hey, I mean, if you ever come down there, if I'm ever there and we're there at the same time, let me know, and I can take you around to Times Square and stuff. But watch out for the rats, though. They'll get you.
Yeah.
Things are massive, but yeah, it's great. It's really cool just learning about your lifestyle, how you grew up, just hiking and adventure. How would you say that environment cultivated your personality?
Well, I think it's what you're a product of your surroundings, and it was just this idea that I really liked no cell phone. My parents would allow me to go out into the wood. Like my friend and I, or not sometimes by myself, but one of my good friends, Mike Hansen, we would have my dog, and we'd get, gone in the morning, and there's no phones. You just know that you're going out into the woods, right? And like this, I barely even bought bear spray or anything out, which is crazy now, because for some reason I feel like
bear spray, that's so foreign to me. I don't know what that is. Sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just say it's heavy duty mace. Yeah, and yeah, that's what it was, this kind of loathing for adventure, I would say, because I'd always be able to go and have those. No, you're just I'm by myself, right? Like you're just there in your own little world with these, beautiful scenery and vegetation and animals and your dog. So it's like that kind of tailed into, I was never like the strongest student. And like I had a tough time learning inside a classroom. You know, and I was, you know, I don't want to say ADD at all, but like I definitely had a tough time paying any attention to like one single thing. But at least so I found when I'm out doing something active and when I'm in like the woods where there's actually lots going on, more than just what's on your paper. Like there's rocks, there's wind, there's animals, there's environment, you know, your safety, all these other factors that like I felt so zen there. But yet in a classroom, I would, and in that kind of, you know, working life, I always felt very, but so that led to myself going in, you know, up to the oil sands in northern Alberta, or going to a diving academy and working in Alaska. And then eventually, you know, that was all just like what people I think would find a lot of fear in. I think because of that, my childhood allowed me to be, you know, a little bit more adventure seeking, but also not really afraid of failing, because you're always trying to do something when you're out in the woods, whether that be move a tree to make a fort or something, and nothing ever works out. And yeah, that's kind of to give you the best possible answer I could. Yeah.
Nah, that's completely understandable. And you're right when you said like me and you completely the same when can't pay attention in class. We're just like, it's hard for me to focus. I think now more than ever, just because like I'm thinking about the future a lot. Like it's really hard for me to like stay focused on one singular thing. Like sometimes I go like in and out of conversations, or sometimes when I'm doing something, I like look at my phone and just like distract myself, and it's just like really crazy. I'm trying to get better with it, but here's hoping.
Dude, the phone phenomenon is wild, and it's, you know, it's interesting because now that I've been in the film world, I'm even further removed from that time of my life. Like I get to do it on my off days. I live right in the mountains here, so it's like Vancouver. There's no shortage of stuff to do, but my work life consists mostly around being close to a screen no matter what. And it's this weird balance that is just a constant for me, at least. It's like, you know, because it's not even that like I feel like I'm swiping like a robot. It's like there's things that I'm interested in reading. Like it's my news, it's my hobbies. All these things start to consist around your phone. So it's tough if you're doing stuff, I think, like, you know, where all of a sudden you're just finding yourself distracted. I feel for you. I think that's probably everybody's dealing with that in some shape or form, especially the young people today.
Especially with the pandemic, you know, we all had to go inside the house, and we just that was our lives. Like Zoom was my life, and just going on social media and looking and reading the news, and just I really think it's gonna be interesting to see like how after we come out of this, because we're slowly coming out of it due to the vaccine and stuff like that, like what effects this had on us. Like, I mean, you know, sadly, we saw suicide rates go up and just a ton of other crazy type of stuff. And what effects like this is going to have on younger kids as we go on in the generation who are going to school. Like, how's it going to affect my little brother? I mean, he still has middle school and high school to go through. I'm done. I got to go to college. Like, that's me now. So, like, it's really going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds, because the phone thing is I even see it in my own day-to-day life. Like I said, I distract myself a lot with technology, so it's kind of hard to break out of.
But you nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it. It's like it's gonna be, and that's all. And you know, the sad thing is because we can't make any sort of mass change or know, like you wish that you could know the effects right away. But yeah, time will tell. All of a sudden, it's gonna be like 10 years from now. We're like, oh, that's the side effects of what all of this was. You know, people became more consumed in their phones, or people with, you know, that poor pandemic and making everybody go down and kind of have to hermit. But it's also, again, what I'm sure you've noticed, like it's also the lifesaver for everybody who didn't have a friend. Oh, did I lag?
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. My girlfriend's working in the room. But I just mean it also kept everyone together. Like you think how thankful you were that you were able to communicate and talk to people and have your family right there on your phone. For example, my girlfriend's from Ireland, and like she didn't get to see her family for forever. Like if she did, thank God we had our phone that, like, you know, she could be right there. So yeah, it's this weird balance. But Yeah.
Most, most definitely. But now let's get into a Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Interesting type of movie. It's more horror based. And is this your first movie that you've done?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this was the first, and yeah, long ride. But yeah,
That's really dope. Oh my gosh.
you're like my fifth interview.
Really?
I don't normally do them. Yeah.
Why is that? I'm interested. Why is that?
I would say work is just something that is all, inclusive, and I'm more focused on my day life and what's happening to have time. But then when I do get the opportunity to do it, I see such value in it and how nice it is to meet people from around the world. And so like I'm new to it, right? So it's like, well, this isn't bad. For so long you're just hustling to do work, and then you're like, wait, there's somebody who'd like to talk to you about the film and the art that you just made. And then so that's changing, but like you're talking to somebody who never would, be, outside of work and family. I'm not too inclined to, talk about oneself too much. So it's interesting to talk to, it's not like I'm against it or anything. It's just not of habit, like I'm not taking Zoom calls. I mean, I'm not, posting live on my very limited social media because I'm just not used to it. Yeah,
Got you.
that's why that is. So there's another long answer. Yeah.
Oh
It's just
no.
not, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love those. I love that. Yeah, because when I hear how actors are like, who was I speaking to once? I think I was talking to Roger Craig Smith, who's a voice actor. He played like Batman, and he's Sonic the Hedgehog for like 10 plus years. If
Wow.
he said he doesn't really do interviews, and I never like got to ask him why. So I'm just interested on why people don't like doing it. Like I see why, because I've been asked to do interviews, which is weird. Like, why would you ask me? But because I interview, I don't know. Oh, but people have asked to interview
Well,
me.
because you do have interviews, but you also have you're like, well, I want to talk, like you've done all this and you're doing these interviews. We want to talk to you about what that's been like. So yeah, I can understand why interviewers would want to talk to other people who are interviewing and doing these things. But go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, yeah, it's just really cool to see, and I get what you're talking about when you're talking about like, oh, it's like weird to do them because it is weird. It's like, okay, you could talk to me, I guess. I don't know. It's really
Well,
weird.
I think there's some people who like, I think there's some people maybe in the industry who are like, oh yes, like give me like I want it all. Like let's talk about my film, but which is I think really important, like the promotional side. So that's really good. But like I think for me, just I had an opportunity to come into this and look at like, well, I'm starting from scratch. I feel brand new. So there's a way that I can at least approach this without, and I think the idea of like when you have time and it lines up, enjoy a coffee and give that person time out of your busy day, like they're giving you time to talk about your art. And I think that's such a cool thing to share with somebody around the world. Like I've never spoke with a person from New York who lives in Georgia, and I've never spoke to a dude from Edinburgh or Nottingham, which I did last week. And so that beats me. Like, to be honest, I don't really want to talk to anybody necessarily like from North America. You're about to like that. It's kind of cool to be like, wait, there's a Russian guy who wants to talk to me. Like, let's bring him on. That's, like, so I can imagine for people who are getting just hounded every day to do interviews that they would like, but for me, this is so new that it's just a fun experience.
Got you. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
With this being your first movie, Thunderbird, how would you describe your experience and what did you learn from it?
Oh, wow. I learned, God, the last 4 years have just been absolute learning. 5 years now where it didn't start till 2016. So, I think to sum it up quickly, just being able to battle like an extreme amount of adversity within yourself and in a company that, I started the company with Mike Morrison and this was our first film. He was that producer and Gabrielle Edelman. And like from what you thought things were going to be to what the outcome ended up being. And, you know, as yourself you were at one point, and confident in your decision making. And then time and time again, you're just so surprised and shocked at how things have turned out, whether that be like, you know, a shoot, for example, in a day where you've planned this one scene so much, and then you find these new things right in the middle of it, and all of a sudden you're taking things a whole different direction that were so great. Or other things where, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you need to get to Port Hardy, and your brother's driving the trailer truck, wardrobe truck, and there's a flat tire or something. Like, there's just constant adversity that's happening. And then there's the whole business side of this industry and all these things. So my biggest learning experience was just how to stay confident in what you believe in, and you know, perseverance. Just always got to be hopeful that and trusting in yourself and believe in yourself, because there's many times along this whole journey with making your first feature and coming from the background I did, where I just all is lost moments time and time again, you know. So it's just completely, no matter what it is, be devout to believe in yourself, and always be expecting yourself to persevere through the hardest of things, because you're dealing with family loss during this. Like, you have this whole other life that's going on. So you know, there was these two separate things, like focused on your business and getting Thunderbird out the door and doing a good job with acting, and making sure that you're just trying to be as good as a person as you can be during the process, and staying sane, you know, because it's tough. It's like, I don't think anyone, like, I thought diving's tough and oil rigs is tough, and fishing. I'm a commercial fisherman as well. That boat that you saw in the movie, like the very beginning of the movie, that's all, I named the company after that vessel. It's called the Ocean Twilight. Yeah. So it's called the Ocean Twilight. I named the company Ocean Twilight Films. Yeah. So it's just, yeah, I know I'm off tangent, but yeah, just believe in yourself, right? That's it. I just learned that more. It's like, I always was never afraid to really fail, but it's like, this was something where it's like, you know, I physically couldn't muscle my way through, and I mentally didn't have the strength that, you know, you thought you did. And so, like, you're just constantly battling that adversity within yourself, and just always, and that's the weird thing, because it's like, you know, yourself is being challenged, and that's what it wants the most. And you always know that you got to just pushing through. So, but yeah, like that, you know, on a side note, that fishing vessel, I know I'm giving you long answers. You might not want them, but
no, I beg for them.
Yeah. So that is that's it, right? Like, that's probably the biggest, because yeah, that's what you learn. I'm trying to, you know, the other thing is like, oh, learn to eat properly. Well, you know, how to manage my coffee and my food during the day when I've got scenes all day. That was another small little learning thing. Like, that blew my mind. You know, it's like, wait, no, you got to deliver like a serious scene here, you know, at 3 o'clock. And if you eat a coffee and a lunch, you know, before that, and maybe 2 coffees because you're feeling a little sleepy, like, yeah, that's tough. So learn that too. You know, like, you can imagine some of these people doing huge sets for like all day. It's like, how do you manage the food? But then, like, they probably got nutritionists and everything. Like, I have no one, you know, I'm just relying on my, like, you know, my gut.
Yeah, these big budget Hollywood movies have like some of the top nutritionists.
Yeah, it's like, don't worry, what's your food? What do you want to eat? Like, you know, and then they also have a gym, a guy to, you know, to work out with. Like, it's just crazy. Yes. So that wasn't our experience, but everyone was great. So anyways,
that's dope. What for Thunderbird, what was the most memorable scene that you were in, for you at least?
Memorable scene. I'm interested to know, before I say it, what your favorite scene was.
I sadly have not gotten the chance to see it yet, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good then, because this will give you, you know, at least you'll be able to watch it and get, you have a little bit of insight beforehand, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
There's two scenes that I love the most. So when you watch it, make sure that you dive in, because this is something that I think the viewers, people won't get to ever see this type of thing unless they watch it in our movie. And I'll describe what that is here in a second. But just to give you an example, when you go to cinema, you watch a film, you want to be shocked, like you want to feel things, right? And I think that the hard part filmmakers have is like, how can they get people detached from their, reality and into our world and see it through the eyes of us? And for me, the way that we shot this film, it just really sticks true to the authenticity of where we are. For example, the fishing that happens in the first scene, like I'm an actual fisherman, and all the crew members are fishermen, and you're seeing commercial fishing, in which, a lot of people, you see all the talk shows, like there's a lot of like barbaric nature behind it, and like primal with killing fish and all these things that aren't great that we're learning. But at the same time, what I felt when I was out there, I never thought about those things, because you're just trying to live on this boat. You're trying to catch the fish so you can go back to land. You're young and you're just trying to, pay for your film career to continue, because you don't want to be a barista right now. But I saw the ocean, the open ocean, man, it's just beautiful. And the noises, and it's just gorgeous. So I always have thought about how beautiful that would look. And I wanted people to at least see it through the eyes of a fisherman. And so when I think you watch the opening scenes, it's not like Deadliest Catch. And it's crazy. It's like, you're going to see just a beautiful vessel. I think it's the, jewel of the Canadian fleet of halibut longliners. Beautiful paint, amazing crew, really good human beings. And to put it as the crown jewel in the film, in the opening scene, and to see just kind of the rhythm and the tones and the sounds of the movie you're about to watch, sets a really good stage for the movie. And it's something that no one will ever have. Like, you can't just go and be like, we need a commercial fishing boat, let us follow you. It's like, this was myself, as authentic and as real as it gets, doing that job with the other crew members who are also fishermen. So it doesn't get any better. So that's one that I want you to look for and enjoy that. Now I'm going to spoil something for you, so I don't know if you want me to, but.
Is it big?
Okay.
Is it a big spoiler?
I won't spoil it.
Okay.
I'll word it different.
All right, cool.
In the beginning of the third act of the film, you'll bear witness to a thing called a Thunderbird dance. And the Thunderbird dance, and the one that we were lucky enough to collaborate and have in our film with David Knox, is a heritage dance by the Kwagitooth First Nations in Fort Rupert, Port Hardy. And never before, except for in the year 1914, in a film called The Land of the Headhunters, never before was this dance seen on camera outside of that movie in 1914. And David had his family do the dance, their heritage dance, for us. And we all were there together. It was the most intense spiritual experience of my life. There's the whole Kwagitooth First Nations group. We all had talked and collaborated and worked with one another to put this scene together, and that was the coolest part. It was like, there was nothing about Hollywood. There's nothing about big filmmakers. No, it's like, how do we building that relationship to a point that all of a sudden it was just the most insane experience. I can't really put it to words. Like I say, it was just weirdly spiritual. I don't know if anyone, if you're a religious man or not, but I have always been really in touch with just nature and feeling alive when I was, like I said earlier, hiking and things like that. So when this experience of the Thunderbird dance was happening and the drums were playing, and all the elders are watching these three young men do this dance that's been around for hundreds of years. I think for the Kwagito First Nations and for ourselves to be able to show viewers a little bit into their lives and their belief is so amazing. So when you watch it, that moment is something that nobody sees. Nobody sees it. You know, it's not some bullshit, you know, fake thing. This is as real as it gets. And that to me is an amazing thing.
Can't wait to see it. I'm excited now. I'm excited.
Really
excited now.
You know, it's hard to promote it, but I think it's the stuff that Hollywood is lacking these days, is that, like, you know, we're loathing for real. And that's the thing with indie features. It's like, I think if you can nail it in the indie way, that you can do that. So I hope that when people watch it, yourself included, you appreciate those scenes because they're so, you know, real and authentic, like I say.
Got you. What do you want people to take away from this movie?
Well, that, you know, just speaking on, that's just it. It's like, I just want you to, you know, I hope you could see the beauty of where we were in the world. It's hard for me not to think about, you know, the fact that somebody like yourself has never seen that. And for just being like, those are the things that I feel like I grew up with. And I think that's all about, like, you know, when you're new and stuff, it's like, that's just what you're sharing. Like, you're just sharing art with yourself. And all the, like, Alfonso Chin, who's a cinematographer, just did like an amazing job capturing the colors of the Pacific Northwest. And like I say, like, the people, it's all like, we used a lot of extras who were just like real people from the towns that we were working in. So that's kind of cool too. So it's like, I just want to give you a sense of like, this is kind of a small town, and look at this beautiful small town in the Pacific Northwest. You know, it's not what I hope. Like, I hope there's a lot of deep meaning, and I don't really want to get into all that. Mm-hmm. So I hope there's a lot that resonates with people when they watch Will's struggle. You know, if you're asking me for the film or just Will, like, Will's battling his own demons throughout the film and having to, you know, really, you know, dig and find inside himself, you know, who the man is that he really wants to be, and what route that he wants to take to kind of better himself. And, you know, throughout that whole journey, he's dealing with these really dark forces in his head. And, you know, so, you know, but Will gets through it. So I guess if someone could watch that and be like, okay, if Will can do it, so can I.
I love that.
If it's Will, you know, if it will, but for the film, I hope you like the colors, the where the city we are in. You know, I hope you enjoy the realness of the film.
I could really tell that from it. You really want people to feel the authenticity, just the realness of the sets and the realness of the people. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. I really like that.
Because then you're watching art, you know, from a place. You're watching the art from a certain region. You know, if I could be like, I want to see some artsy film from this area, so I get a good idea of what Brooklyn, New York is. And there's some guy from Brooklyn, New York, who made us a movie. Yeah, it could be imaginary circumstances, but in his backyard, like, that's cool. That's better to me than going to an international. I mean, sorry, the Odin International Village right beside me here, and watching a film that just has, I don't know. I don't need to go on that rant, but it's, yeah.
What do you want to do next with your company or just movies in general?
Well, I'm doing a documentary right now about a sunken, so it's like it'll be out here in December, so stay tuned. And we went during 2020, we went and found a sunken train locomotive that had been lost since 1947 in Canada's third deepest lake. Yeah, so I led this expedition, and it's like, because it was the diving background plus the filming And so we're just finishing the editing and post-production of that. But that's what's happening right now. In terms of film, the next film that I have, I want to do is called Airband. And I can't tell you much more than that, but it's going to be
teasing us, huh? Teasing us.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
So that hopefully will be next, but yeah. So I really want to keep acting, but like, I've got other projects that I'm doing. So I hope if somebody likes the film, maybe it gets in front of the right person. They're like, wow, we need Colten to come be in our movie.
It's gonna happen.
In which case I give them all of me, there'd be no strings attached, just the best that I could be for them in their project, to help out and collaborate with them and give my best acting abilities to them. But I also like finding trains, and also like telling random stories, and being on all facets of the project, not just one thing, So
I guess that's all for Babble Talk, Colten. It was amazing talking to you. I really feel this authentic spirit about you. That's really gonna get you far in this industry. So I'm wishing you the best. Hope to work with you one day, because I'm into the industry myself. So it'd be cool to see. And speak.
Nice. You got my email, right?
Hmm?
You got my email, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So why don't you just email me your like, if you've got a page or the podcast or whatever this is. That way, if I'm ever on your side of the country, who knows? Might make a movie in Georgia one day.
Facts.
Yeah. Never know, right?
You're right. Well, man, I hope to stay in touch with you. And is there anything you want to promote before we head off?
No, I guess just just watch the movie, send it to your people. Follow me at C Wilke. It's SEAWILKE. I don't post much, but hey. Anyways, that's about it, man. Yeah. Just I hope people watch the film.
Y'all get on that, watch the film, and look out for his documentary this December. This has been Babble Talk, guys. I am your host, Josh, aka Jamor, and I will see you guys whenever I come back. Cause I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one, and peace. And where's it at? Okay.